I was extremely fortunate to get a chance to see Deep Sea in UK cinemas on a very extremely limited release. And what I'm going to say is a statement I never thought I would say, but this is the best animation I've seen in a movie in my entire life, beating Pixar. Hello everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for taking your own time out to check out this review. My name's Mike and today we're here to talk about Deep Sea. Now this is directed by Xiaopeng Tian, if I've got that right, and I've never seen any of this director's previous works except from this movie, which I got a chance to see on the big screen at Odeon on a very limited release. Now this movie, if you're wondering, well, what is Deep Sea all around, it focuses on a character called Shenshu who is on a family cruise, and we learn a little bit about the family, that she's a little bit of an outcast in this situation and she misses her mom as her and her dad is divorced. And on this cruise she actually washes over the cruise into the sea, where she comes across this magical world, and she comes across this restaurant in the bottom of the sea called the Deep Sea Restaurant, run by a very charismatic individual called Nan He. And that's all I'm going to tell you guys without spoilers, because there's a lot to Deep Sea than what scratches the surface. The animation on this movie, as I say, is truly breathtaking. It is utterly sublime, sensational, and honestly better than Pixar. And I know that is saying a lot, especially with the quality that Pixar is and the most known studio to produce the highest quality. This smoked it out of the water. And again, I never thought I would say a statement like that in my entire life, but I'm going on record to say that right now. Overall, I saw this movie in dub. Any of you wondering, well, Mike, why did you see this in dub and not in its original Chinese language? Unfortunately, the cinema that I went to, the only cinema in my area actually showing this movie, only put on dub. They didn't even give an option of subtitles or original language. It was flat out dub, which I'm not opposed to, and I don't mind watching anime in dub, but I would prefer the original language if the choice is there on most elements, unless there's a really fantastic dubbing where it, is as good as the original kind of Japanese voice work, Chinese voice work in this scenario. This story, however, is really fascinating. This is definitely not an animation movie for kids. Yes, there's elements on kind of, scratching the surface that you might be like, wow, kids will see all these kind of bright, vivid colors and they'll be like, wow, this is great. That aspect, yes, you can kind of say it is kind of for kids, but the underlying tones, the darkness, the kind of scenes that explode in this movie is definitely not for kids, because there was a warning before seeing the movie which kind of comes up with the age and kind of age rating and kind of like the warnings as to what the movie contains, and it said some very mild scary scenes, and I was like, there's definitely some scary scenes here that kids would not appreciate or would even scar them to an extent. And that's what I appreciated about Deep Sea, because on surface of this movie there was a lot of the time I was like, okay, I've got the plot of this movie, I can understand where it's going, but actually what the heck is this story going on? There was elements I was a bit confused myself, but when we get to that third act which reveals itself and reveals the actual story, I was actually taken back in the cinema. And bear in mind, I was the only one in the cinema to see Deep Sea, which is a huge outcry and a huge shame, as a movie like this that gets shown on the big screen, and ideally the only screen anyone should ever see a movie on, unless it's not in the cinema and you've only got at home, or if that's the only option, fair enough. But if you have a chance to see a picture on a big screen, and especially an animation like this that just flat out burst, and not even bursting off the screen, explodes off the screen, the colours here were absolutely magnificent. and truly fascination. And I believe I read up on IMDb, they used a mixture of 3D animation and oil paintings, which I was like, oil paintings and 3D animation mixed together? Like, why did we do that? Like, how is that going to work? It works in buckets and spades full. If you watch a behind the scenes video of this movie, which is on YouTube, it's about 8.5 minutes long, they show you every intricate detail they went into making Deep Sea. And on that level, this movie is absolutely flawless. It is utterly riveting, and a one where I promise you, you've never seen an animation like this in your life. That level alone, Deep Sea, is utterly amazing, right? Now, if you're wondering, okay, well, the story element of it, how does that fare up to the actual animation, which at times seems so realistic, it's kind of like too much to take in on an initial viewing? Well, the story itself is, again, a really deepful and meaningful and impactful one, but I do think it's a one that will take more appreciation on multiple rewatches, because you'll get more of the story, you'll get more of kind of, you know, like little Easter eggs and kind of more kind of early signs that this is where the story is going to go, or an indication as to X, Y, and Z event happened that did happen. So on that element, I liked it. I would have liked it a little bit more if it was fleshed out that little bit extra. 5-10 minutes even, or the storyline that we get, take away some of the kind of fantastical elements, give us more in-depth story lore building, and I think we would have had a 5 out of 5 star hitter home run here. Unfortunately, the movie didn't get to that level for me personally, but it still gets a pretty high score, because ultimately Deep Sea is a movie that could be the cinema experience of the year. For just the visual aspect alone, you are not going to see something visually that is as a treat as Deep Sea was. I know I'm bigging that up a lot, but I promise you, watch the first 10-15 minutes of this movie and you'll know exactly what I mean. Deep Sea for me is going to get a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Have you seen this movie? Are you going to check it out? Let me know down below in the comment section so we can continue the discussion down there. If you've enjoyed this video, certainly give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't by clicking the red button down below. Big thanks to all my awesome patrons who help to support the channel. All their support means a lot. It truly, really, really does. If you'd like to support, links down below in the description box. In the meantime, click over here to view more videos of mine that you may have missed. And until the next time that I see you guys, I'll be seeing you later.